The Bud Light boycott is not quite as hot and heavy as it used to be, and well, it's been a second since we've checked in with the stocks, and holy Christ, like I got the year in total pulled up, and right now, as we sit $63.30, that is just about at the all-time high for 2023 for Anheuser Busch. Hell, right before everything really fell off, where you can obviously tell where that was, they were sitting pretty north of $65. Hell, just about hitting 70. Oh, yeah, real close before everything started to tumble at a very obvious time. But the fact that they've recovered so nicely over the past month like that's wild, man. You're not going to find many other stocks that decide to go from just about at their all-time lowest, $52, and then gaining north of $10 per share. That's a lot, man. That is quite a bit, and good on them, okay? I'm going to be honest and fair about this stuff. That's the only way that I know how to do coverage. Now, am I going to be somebody who's going to be buying into what Anheuser Busch has to do? Of course not. I have no financial stake in it. They're not going to be sponsoring the channel, nor would I ever take an alcohol sponsorship. I would only endorse something that I would personally use, and as somebody who's been dry throughout his entire life, I would find it to be a tad bit hypocritical. But somebody who is really doing all their best in order to try to resuscitate this brand, mostly because he's got $100 million riding on it, is Dana White, and he's out there stumping, opposite of Tucker Carlson, who's also trying to launch his own gimmick. I think he's got like a streaming service, a channel or something. I don't know, man. I really don't know, nor do I really care, but I'm happy he's doing it. I'm just not one of those people that lives and breathes the words of what anybody else says, and if they go ahead and deviate from any one of your own personally held ideas, I'm not just going to throw them under the bus, and that's what I'm going to be talking about here. It's Dana White, obviously, man. Okay, his statement on this stuff, we'll play it here, but just the preamble. If you consider yourself a patriot, you should be drinking gallons of Bud Light. Gallons of Bud Light. You should have Bud Light drums stacked in your garage. They are way more aligned with you than these other beer companies. That might very well end up being the case. And this is something that so many trad cons, okay, everybody who wants to adhere to an ideology is out here telling you. And something I pride myself on not doing. They're out here telling you what you should be doing. I am, like so many other of the good RP type creators, just simply want to give you the tools. Okay, shout out to Rollo Tomasi for this. I'm not in the business of making men better. I am in the business of giving men the tools to make their own lives better. I'm just here to present how I see things. I'm not here to tell you how you should see things. We're probably going to disagree on some things. Hell, a video from a couple of days ago, it all gets kind of mixed up when it comes to my release schedule, but I had the video on the completionist and his charity scandal, and that one's sitting right there. Whoo, howdy, there's 52 people, great number by the way, that agree with my stance on that wow, it's kind of weird, and it really just seemed like a bunch of drama farming type situation really just run amok, and the money's all there, it got distributed, and it just kind of seems like somebody who's just out there farming drama, and hey, maybe things ended up getting worse, but if Gerard actually has the receipts, this is going to get spicy, and maybe you should have shut your mouth, and you should have crossed your own T's and dotted your own I's before you wanted to go out there and start doing some clickbaity shit and keep your nose out of your own business. But to contrast that, it's got over 100 dislikes, so it's like sitting at a 35%, positive rate. Like, it's obviously been ratioed, and I'm not, unaccustomed to that. I just lay out the situation as best as I see it, and if you don't agree with it, well, that's totally fine. I really don't care at the end of the day, because I just got this really weird track record of every time that I come forward with the take that nobody really agrees with, shout out Sydney Watson situation, I always seem to just come back and end up being proven right by that situation. So somebody who's deciding to go so hard on the legal side of this, I'm thinking, man, they would have shirked away like a wilting violet if they didn't think they at least had some justification, but that's just me, okay? So Gerard might be a complete scumbag, but I also know the track record of some ordinary gamers and all of those drama type guys, and well, they're just going to do whatever they can in order to get attention. Carl Jobst seems to be the exact same way. And Bud Light, well, they're just trying to graft themselves onto a very profitable professional sports league, something that would normally fit in their customer profile, mixed martial arts, buying themselves into the good graces of the market leaders in every single domain, spending a whole lot with the NFL, college football's heavy hitters, and now the UFC. They're trying to resuscitate their brand without having to admit any sort of fault. And we've opined about how they can go ahead and get themselves back and resuscitate their broken image. And the only thing that we can all just kind of agree on is if they go ahead and put enough time between themselves and their Dylan Mulvaney partnership. Dylan Mulvaney's obviously, like, 15 minutes of fame on that dude is long gone and forgotten. The next time we're going to hear from them is likely in the obituary section. Not that I'm cheering that on, I'm just simply playing the probabilities. When your stocks have rebounded, like Anheuser Busch has, they can afford to throw around 9 digits for sponsorship. And when you're Dana White, trying to do everything that you can, everything that Dana White does is in benefit of anything that Dana White is attached to. So this guy, he's the type of CEO that you want for your business because he takes all that shit personally. He's been with the UFC prior to the Zuffa purchasing. Even as as lukewarm as the reception to Power Slap is, like, he is super dedicated to trying to make that a success. I like those slap competitions. I think that they're great, but am I going to sit down and watch an entire event? Probably not, but Dana White has a lot of excitement around that brand, and he's going to do anything that he can in order to make it seem like it's the best decision for the company, for the brand, and it makes sense for the people watching the product. He is the greatest promoter ever. I used to think that was Vince McMahon, but Dana White has far and widely surpassed his abilities. Because Dana White took something that was stuck in the doldrums of bingo halls and then brought it to stadiums around the world. Something that carried the stigma, thanks to a shout out to John McCain, actually more specifically shout out to his brain tumor, somebody who coined the phrase human cockfighting, my friends. How can you criticize something where you can't even give it a Commodus thumbs down because your arms don't move like that? Whatever circle of hell you're stuck in, it's too fucking charitable of a treatment that you're going to be getting for eternity. Fucking neocon warmonger. Anyways, Dana White did that for the UFC. He wasn't the money man behind it, but he was the face of it, the bombastic face that people started to resonate with. And now, if he can do that for his own production, now if he can go ahead and spin around or at least make a little bit more palatable Bud Light after the trouncing that they took in 2023, this guy's going to be a marketing god. But as I said a little bit earlier, I don't have to agree with somebody. I can like somebody, but not agree with everything that they have to say, because nobody agrees with everything everybody says. I generally like Tucker Carlson. I think he's probably the best mainstream journalist, however you want to qualify his professional credentials. He's the top of his field, obviously. But I'm sure that there are some things that I disagree with him on. And that's okay. You can like somebody and not agree with everything that they have to say. I know it's fucking shocking in today's polarizing world. It's something that you guys obviously know. It's just for the idiots that are down there in the back. And then Dana White, we probably agree on a hell of a lot more than we would disagree with. I would think personally, signing up with Bud Light right now, they probably just had the biggest bag, and that's something that you can obviously put to work. And the last time I did a couple of videos on this, and we talked about the fact that the parent company for the UFC, Endeavor, they've got a big old bill coming to maturity in 2024 or 2026 in the billions of dollars. So they need to go ahead and accrue as much cash as possible. And $100 million from a desperate company to another desperate company, that makes a lot of sense. And then knowing Dana White's innate ability to go ahead and polish any turd that's out there, it's really getting pushed to the limit because a lot of people are pushing back on this. So we can run the clip right now because I think it's important to give it in as much context as it's being clipped out right now.
Let me tell you what, if you consider yourself a patriot, right? You're a patriot, you should be drinking gallons of Bud Light.
See, that's classic sales technique, by the way. Okay, it's association. Oh, you consider yourself a man who likes to take safety very seriously. Okay, well, and you do a lot of scaffolding work. I'm just giving you a scenario right now. It's something that I would have had to do, back when I was selling all the fucking hardware and hardware accessories that I used to back in the cut. Okay, your company has got a great it's got a great safety rating. Okay, this harness right here for you going up and down those scaffolds, that 5-point harness right there, it's the top of the line. That right there, there, has all of the credentials that you're going to need on that one. Okay, that's the choice that you need to make right there. And then these gloves right here, okay, they still have the flexibility, but then they're also going to have the grip, so you can at least feel through those gloves enough. They're still going to keep your hands warm. It's still going to be able to, you know, make sure that you can go ahead and do whatever you need when you're climbing up those ladders, because sometimes in the winter months it's going to get really, really, really cold for you, and grabbing onto iron. I understand. So you're going to need to have tactility with your fingers as well, but then at the same time grip up there. So you need to make sure you're going to make sure that you're not going to be falling off, because that's going to end up costing you man hours and all that stuff. So if you go ahead and you consider yourself a very safe company, you consider yourself somebody who takes pride in your employees' safety and well-being, then that's the harness that we don't even need to discuss it any further. That's the one that you're going to be getting right there. You just tell me what sizes that you need on that one. That's what you do when it comes to sales, man. You make an emotional attachment to your end user, because just like dealing with women, when you're dealing with the general population, you can make them feel anything except ambivalence, and this is what Dana White does just about better than anybody else. So we're only 7 seconds in, but let him continue.
Believe me when I tell you.
Wait. I should be boycotting Bud Light.
Gallons of Bud Light. You should have Bud Light drums stacked up in your garage and
And see, okay, Tucker's even buying in on this one, okay? Because Dana White, he does something else that's really good, okay? He engages them, again, on another emotional level by just making it big and bombastic and a big joke, because, yeah, you should have gallons of that. You should have a moat cut out around your house, and you should just fill it up with Bud Light, because that's how big of patriots they are, and I know you love America, too. Bud Light, they've got those Folds of Honor program right there, okay? They've donated so much money out there, okay? They are really a pro-America company in a time where do you remember that Miller Lite commercial where they were out there saying that women were among the first people to ever brew beer? Just how stupid that was. Like, that's not American. We all know that it's totally different than that. Where meanwhile, on the other hand, you know, flag waving, you know, the horses and all that's like, come on, man. Like the horses, that is simple Americana. That is right up there with American Pie, sitting down with a nice cold can of Bud Light on a hot summer day. Like, come on, man. There is no more of an American scene than that. Just bringing it up to another level. That's what Dana White's doing right there, obviously, and it's working. He's the best at it. Learn from this. Even if you don't agree with the message, which I don't, honestly. I think the Bud Light boycott is still going to go on in some form or fashion. Obviously, the stocks are up, but are the sales with it? We don't know. I haven't seen any sort of an update on that. They might be back up through the roof. They might be back to pre-boycott levels, but the stigma is still out there. I assure you.
drinking it right out of the keg. They are way more aligned with you than most of these other beer companies are. That I guarantee you. Take it from somebody who's in the know, who does business with beer companies.
And then again, now he's also, in order to try to hit you on another emotional level, making an appeal to an authority. Listen, I deal with so many beer companies, okay? I've been doing this for a very long time, and I can tell you that, okay, there are companies that are out there that will go ahead and put on a front. I've dealt with them before, and I've been able to suss them out. That's why I'm choosing Bud Light right now, because they walk the talk, okay? And they talk the walk. They've always been authentic when I've been dealing with them, and I can vouch for them. He's lending his own credibility to them, and also knowing Dana White's previous performances and his raw authenticity. Therefore, that connection that he has with you in person, that would be something else, okay? You can go ahead and disassociate yourself from just a simple clip. Well, I guess twice removed, because I got my video of it and we're commenting over the top of it, but it's obviously right there. But yeah, it's powerful what he's doing. He's an expert salesman.
You are way more aligned with Bud Light than you are with
I'm
any
assuming,
other beer company.
I mean, they didn't come into partnership with you by accident.
No.
Obviously.
We had multiple bidders on the table.
Did they seek you out?
We had multiple bidders on the table. They were one of them. And as history has shown me with relationships that I've had with other beer companies.
And then hearkening back to successful partnerships that he used to have with Bud Light. Remember when, Brock Lesnar at UFC 100 went on his legendary, I'm not drinking Bud Light because they ain't paying me shit. I'm going to go home and have a Coors and maybe crawl on top of my wife. Prayers for Sable. Had a history with the company. He's not going to talk about how that, we ended up with Modelo, now the best-selling beer in America. But we don't need to talk about that, because when you're trying to big something up, you play up all of its strengths and you completely and totally diminish any of its faults. It's sales 101. I encourage everybody out there, okay? If you're looking at how to do sales, or if you're just looking to have good relationships, just strike a banter with anybody, you know? For as much as I hate small talk, I have the ability to do it because I've worked sales jobs before. Retail, high ticket, whatever the hell you want to do, okay? It's an invaluable skill that you can extrapolate to so many other domains. And it's also a lost art in today's day and age where everybody's just trying to do shit online, okay? You might be able to talk up, you might be able to type up a fucking mean word, but if you can't say anything in person, you're just a fucking autistic spurg that'll get kicked to the side of the road. So genuine authenticity, because that's what Dana White is radiating right now, okay? You might think, oh, he's just a slimy snake oil salesman, but when you know what Dana White has been about, it wasn't even that long ago when he was out there telling other motherfuckers to just fuck off for what he's doing on his own private social media networks, on his own channels, okay? Listen, I'm a Trump supporter. I'm going to have this post up there. A sponsor can come to me and I'm just going to tell them to fuck off. He was doing the Elon Musk before Elon Musk had the balls to do as much, and Dana White, for as rich as he is, he doesn't have Elon Musk go fuck yourself money. He's got fuck you attitude, and that's worth more than any of the billions that Elon has.
I, who lean more this way.
Yep.
Yeah, another emotional
I consider
appeal.
myself a patriot. I don't go crazy over the whole patriot thing, but
There it is. Okay. Now he's just going to try to make him commit to this. It's great. This is perfect.
consider myself a proud American. I'm happy to be an American. I love this country, and you are way more aligned with Anheuser Busch than you are with other beer companies.
See, that's perfect. That's the ultimate sale at the end of this stuff. Like that was a masterclass right there. A lot of people are not going to realize that because we'll take a look at the comments here in a second because money over principles, hard pass. Sorry, Dana, the Bud Light boycott is forever. A bunch of people just spurging out and all that stuff. I don't know why you just fucking autoplayed like that. Fix your video shit, Elon Christ Almighty. But that was the hard sell at the end. Okay, listen, I consider myself a patriot. I'm not going to go I'm not going to be one of these crazy guys who's just going to like wrap themselves in the flag all the times. I love my country. I love America. I love the principles that it stands for. And you know what? Anheuser Busch, they stand for a lot of those principles as well. So you know what? Here's the thing, man. In dealing with regular companies like this all the time, nobody else mirrors my principles the exact same way that these guys do. All of that could be total fucking bullshit, but the way that Dana sells it, it seems appealing to people. And based on past actions as well, Dana White has that credibility. He has that authenticity. Now he's leveraging that with a current unpopular position that he's taken. But that's why I like Dana White. He's going to do what he thinks is best for himself and his company. And if you don't like that, well, you can go drown yourself in the fucking Bud Light water slide that he just installed in the back of his Anheuser Busch McMansion. The $100 million just bought him. That's not all going to him. It's going to the company. Well, probably the parent company at the end of the day. So yeah, man, do whatever you will. I honestly, what I'm going to be doing when it comes to Bud Light, I don't drink the shit. Okay, I don't purchase any Anheuser Busch products, at least that I know of, unless they sponsor my water supply here. But the stigma is still going to be there. This is going to be one of those situations where the UFC is going to go ahead and have this sponsorship, and the people who still watch the product are just going to look at that and maybe cringe for a while, but otherwise just be ambivalent to the UFC's association to it, kind of like what's happening with the NFL, okay, where they just, cut over to that and they could just go la 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 la, can't see, can't hear, na 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 na, not happening, and continue to enjoy the aspects that they do. And that's all you can expect when you engage in the public square. You're not going to agree with everybody on everything, but on a balance of probabilities, if it's something that you can tolerate, that's the best that you can hope for. Because if you want the entire world to bend to your whims and wills, that's a fucking child's interpretation. That's an idiot. You might as well head on back to Hassan or Destiny's chat if that's your fucking idea of how the world ought to work. I'm just here to tell you how the world is working. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.